Yes, I know I am extremely ridiculously late talking about this trailer, but the movie hasn't come out just yet, so I feel as though anything is fair game. But yes, I am very late talking about the Dragon Ball Super Broly trailer 2 that we got. That gave us a lot of bombshells, or I don't want to say bombshells, but definitely a lot more insight. Let's be correct here. A lot more insight into the upcoming Dragon Ball Super movie and what we're going to be getting. I definitely felt as though this trailer was catering more towards flashbacks and things, because remember, this movie has been described that we're going to be getting the history of the Saiyans, and it's going to be a big fan service thing, so I'm imagining we're going to get a decent amount of this film being centered around the past, leading up to Frieza destroying Planet Vegeta, what eventually happened to Broly and his father Paragus. All of that stuff is what it seems to be going to be, at the very least, possibly a good chunk of the first act or the second act, something along the lines of that. I'm imagining the whole third, final act, all of that stuff is going to be the Goku and Vegeta versus Broly, and depending on what part Frieza is going to play, if he's going to be defeated beforehand, or he's going to be like, Broly is the warm-up, and then Frieza is the big baddie, but then things go in a very bad direction, and then they gotta switch it up. So there's a possibility there, but that's what I'm imagining that is going to be. So let's talk a little bit about what we get to see in the trailer. I wrote down a bunch of notes. I was going to do a live reaction, but again, it's been out for quite some time, so I was like, I'll just tackle what we get with it. Starting off with a shot of Zarbon, Dodoria, and Jace. Now, Zarbon was Frieza's right-hand man back in the day. I'm imagining, again, this is a flashback to, the past, prior to anything that happened in Z with Goku and all that stuff. So we got Zarbon there. Again, Zarbon's a given. Doria, another given. Those were two of Frieza's people that he had around him. I wish, and I hope this movie goes into some of the development of why in particular, aside from strength-wise, and even then, in comparison to Frieza, they were nothing. Why have Zarbon and Doria around him? Did they have, other than the times that we see him, like, kind of bossing them around and that they were very loyal, was it just their loyalty that he really appreciated? Was there something more there? Because why have them there? I would like some development of their relationship. Maybe they joked around in private about certain things, just little interactions that would really showcase just how important these two people were to Frieza and why he kept them there. Or was it strictly because of their loyalty and their abilities that they had and what they would do for Frieza? Because, at the end of the day, Frieza, yes, he's a bajillion times stronger than them, but there's not many people that are as strong as Frieza or even coming close to. So if you found a couple of really, really loyal people that are pretty strong in comparison to his adversaries, might as well keep them there. So there's that. And then, of course, Jace from the Ginyu Force, and we also see the whole Ginyu Force after a certain point. So a lot of flashbacks. It's going to be cool to see because we didn't really get much of the backstory of like Frieza with the Ginyu Force and things like that. So to get a little bit more of that is going to be nice. See what the Ginyu Force possibly were up to during the periods where Frieza was getting ready to destroy Planet Vegeta and things of that nature. Then, of course, a big thing of the trailer, which I haven't really seen too much of what people were saying in the response of this, is that they're switching things up in a sense of, in the flashbacks, they're going to be showing Frieza in his normal first form, but in the flashbacks where he destroyed Planet Vegeta and all of that stuff, it seems to be that he's not going to have his legendary armor that he had on in every single time that we've ever seen him in those flashbacks. He always had, his little Saiyan body armor, and he was in his first form, the little small shrunken form, but in the flashbacks he does not have the armor on, and that's again starting to dip into some of the problematic aspects of this trailer, and that's introducing plot holes, inconsistencies to what we know and what has been established as the canonical parts of Dragon Ball. Obviously, people will say canon this, canon that. We can't really say there's a canon. I feel as though there's a canon to the anime and a canon to the manga, and then everything else is just like, whoa, this and that, but that's what I truly feel. And then, of course, there's the movies that are kind of their own thing. Now, this movie is playing it off as if it's, again, a sequel, continuation to the Dragon Ball Super anime. Do we know if and when the Dragon Ball Super anime comes back, they'll readapt this film into like an arc? Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. They did it with the Frieza's Resurrection. They did it with the Battle of Gods film, the Beerus film, the first one, whatever. So they did that. There's a possibility they could do it there and then make it that the movie isn't really the canon version, because they could change things up. So as it stands right now, who knows? Maybe this film will eventually be not the definitive version of the story, but as it stands right now, the movie is going to be canonical, and it's, changing a lot of things. And again, getting Frieza without the armor, It's not that big of a deal. I think it's a cool little change. It showcases that at times he was vulnerable, at times he wasn't as wise. Maybe he put on the Saiyan armor after he conquered Planet Vegeta and destroyed it, and he was like, well, this is my little mark towards the Saiyan race that at one point could have possibly someday destroyed me or defeated me. So there's possibility there. Then we get King Vegeta. King Vegeta, to be honest with you, is one of the disappointments I feel in the Dragon Ball verse. Anytime we've ever seen this dude, he's always bowing, he's always scared. Vegeta came out something way greater than his father, and I don't remember if it was canonical or not, the fact that King Vegeta at some given point, or Vegeta just kind of talked really horribly about King Vegeta like that. He was just this weakling, but he was a weakling. I mean, we've seen, very first Battle of Gods film, how Beerus had his foot on him, and he was just pathetic, and he was a disgrace. And then we see in these flashbacks in this trailer as well, similar actions of Frieza having King Vegeta scared to death. We know that King Vegeta was defeated by Frieza before the destruction of Planet Vegeta. And honestly, King Vegeta, he seems as though somebody that kind of deserves it, because in the flashback, we do see scenes of his interactions with Prince Vegeta, our Vegeta, and he just seems as though, he's strong. But that was the downfall, one of the downfalls of Planet Vegeta and the Saiyans themselves, was the fact that they were so obsessed with their strength that they just kind of lacked a lot of things, and that's why Goku is the, kind of difference from them. Vegeta's learned from Goku, but Goku having those emotions and those feelings is what separated him from them, because maybe if King Vegeta really loved his son, he could have made a triumphant change to everything, but he was just like, he's powerful, and as he's looking in there. Quickly going, we also saw King Cold. That is really good. They're adding all that, and honestly, it's fan service. It really is. It's like, we get to see King Cold because we've heard the stories of how Frieza and King Cold, they were together and things like that. So to see him in the flashbacks, gonna be interesting to see what perspective does he add to the history of everything. What stories King Cold, I'm imagining they are going to show that one story that Frieza referenced when he said, my father told me the two people never to mess with. We probably will see that conversation where King Cold says, never mess with Majin Buu and never mess with Beerus the Destroyer. I'm imagining that we're going to actually see that. That's going to be a fun little Easter egg tying things back in. Then this is where they start shifting the narrative. 3 Saiyans born around the same time. Now, there could be different times for this, and we're seeing this, obviously this is a trailer, but around the same time, and the way the narrative is being portrayed is as if, within a few days Vegeta was born, within a few days Goku was born, and within a few days Broly was born, or they were all born around the same day, a few hours apart, whatever. To my knowledge, Vegeta's a few years older than Goku, if I'm not mistaken, while Goku is getting sent off. And again, a lot of this knowledge is going to my vague remembrance of what was told in the Frieza saga of the past of Planet Vegeta, and of course the Bardock, the father of Goku, TV special that we got all those years ago. So that's from what I'm gathering. But again, a lot of this is retellings based on Toriyama's attempt at telling this tale. And again, 3 Saiyans born around the same time. If I'm not mistaken, Vegeta was about, I want to say 5 years old, somewhere around there. He was already getting praise as being really strong. He was rolling with Nappa around the time Goku was born. Broly, and again, that's being completely wiped. And again, that's being completely wiped out, the Broly aspects, because that never actually happened. But of course, Broly was supposed to have been born around the same time as Goku. And it's starting to feel like they're painting this narrative, and they've always tried to, little by little, change the narrative of what Goku and Vegeta were. Like, it's kind of like how in Naruto, how the further along it went, the harder they try to paint that in the past, Naruto and Sasuke had this bond that we never really got to see exactly on the screen. We never really seen stuff like that. So the further and further it goes into the Dragon Ball story, the more they want to paint it as if Goku and Vegeta, they just had this friendship or this bond or whatever, and they were born around the same time alongside Broly. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I could see a lot of fans not liking this, to be honest with you. Baby Goku, lower class warrior Kakarot, so that's where we got the subtitle when we see him. I mean, again, nothing too groundbreakingly new. Goku and the Saiyan baby pod thingy, and again, they're all around the same age. We're going to see Bardock in this one. I think we're going to see a softer Bardock, and it's kind of a sign of the times of how people now they try to model them to be better, because Bardock was a savage back in the days. We're going to see probably a more heartfelt Bardock. I think Gine is going to be what changes Bardock, and I think adding Gine to this equation, a character, Goku's mom, that was not really thought of in the original story, I think Gine is what makes Bardock go from, in the original story, Bardock was heartless. He didn't really care about Goku. It was just like, he's weak, who cares, you know, send him away. I'm not a good guy. I just want to get Frieza before he gets me. I'm not trying to save Planet Vegeta. This one, it seems as though they're morphing the story of Dragon Ball to something more like Superman's origin story, where, you know, how they had to send their son off, the last son of Krypton. The way they're painting it out is this more emotional thing. And maybe even in the origins of Superman, I remember hearing that the Kryptonians weren't that emotional either, but they really want to give Goku this more mainstream sad backstory. And in reality, his mother was never really talked about. His father really didn't care about him because he was weak, and his father got killed, and at the last minute thought like, oh, I could kill this guy before he kills me. Didn't really care about nothing. Now they're trying to romanticize it a little bit with, you know, Bardock's appearance. He looks for the most part the same. Obviously it's years, different animation, whatever. Of course we saw baby Vegeta in the rejuvenation chamber and King Vegeta being proud. And of course Vegeta, another thing was, when they talk about like sending people away, again, you know, we talked about Vegeta was not a baby when Goku was sent away, so we got to see if this is just cut up to make it look like it was almost identically around the same time, because again, I think Vegeta was a few years old when Goku was born, but they might be just ignoring the Bardock Father of Goku TV special, and that's what seems to be the case here. So a lot of those predetermined notions about the Bardock thing, about Broly, we kind of got to erase at this point because they're moving forward, and it sucks because some of it is really good. Frieza wanted to send Broly in a pod to a remote planet. This is where we're going to see the change in Broly's character, and we're going to see the change in the dynamic of Broly and Paragus. The thing was, in the old story, was that Broly was so strong that I think King Vegeta tried to kill him, and they stabbed him and threw them away, and then that's what happened. This one, it was that he's like, my son, just, you know, why are we gonna send him away? He's so strong. And they're changing that to make it a little bit more sad, and we've heard that Broly's father, Paragus, is going to have a more tragic backstory, so I'm looking forward to seeing how they play around with the backstory and the past of everything and how it led up to the point we're at right now. Of course, that means that Paragus is having a grudge against Frieza, so if they have some sort of affiliation in this upcoming movie, we know it's a lie, because Paragus is probably really holding a bad vendetta because he did not want to send him away. That was his son. He really actually cared about him. We got a flashback of Bardock talking about Frieza. Of course, Frieza no armor. Bardock and Jine saying goodbye. Again, the big dramatic thing where they said in the first 20 minutes we're going to cry. I think that in the first 20 minutes of the film, first half hour, people are going to feel a certain way. I think some people are going to be upset that they changed Goku's backstory, essentially, with his parents, and he shows up on planet Earth. In the actual story, he was a baby. Grandpa Gohan found him naked in a pod. They're switching it up that he had Saiyan armor, and he was like kind of a 2-year-old toddler at this point. So I don't personally like that. I mean, yeah, it's Toriyama's, and now we're... Even in the original continuity of the story, Grandpa Gohan was told many times he found him naked in a pod. Now we're throwing in that he was a toddler with Saiyan armor. It just kind of feels a little bit... I don't really dig that part, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of it. Kid Vegeta, Kid Broly, and Kid Goku, definitely a big thing. And of course, the movie's coming out January 16th. 3 destinies collide. Definitely the marketing and everything about it is Broly, Goku, and Vegeta, and the change and all of this. I'm looking forward to it, but it does seem a bit messy, and they're playing with some stuff that has been set in stone for a while, like Goku's past, and that's why I wasn't a big fan of Dragon Ball Minus like that, and now they're incorporating Dragon Ball Minus into the canon continuity. What you guys thought about the trailer, though? How do you feel about all the facts that I talked about throughout the video? What do you think about them playing with Goku's backstory, Frieza's involvement in all this, Frieza without the armor? This movie is going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to seeing where we go from here with Dragon Ball Super. But that is all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit the bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day, and remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Bow. Have an awesome day. Make a major move, laugh and let the haters lose. We don't give a fuck, virginity intact, cream stack. Paper rules, if you heard it, best believe that. But now it's whatever, one day I'll be your favorite, but never.